Hey, what's up guys? Kevin or the Sports Geek here, and in this video I'm just talking about my new Sports Geek Pro model for FantasyLabs PGA. So the first thing I want to talk about is when I created this model, I had an idea beforehand. Instead of just going and playing with the sliders and then clicking update and seeing where it brought me in the points, I had the idea beforehand of where I wanted to set my sliders. I set all my sliders to where I wanted them, and then I clicked update at the end and saw that we had a pretty positive result. So I didn't just go into this messing around with the models or with the sliders here. I had an idea for a model and I just went ahead and created that, and it turned out to be pretty solid. So I'm going to be sticking with this model for most of the year, for most of the tournaments. The only time I will tell you that I probably won't be using this model is if the course is basically a shorter course that needs accuracy over driving distance. I like to favor driving distance in my models. But for example, last week's, when I'm making this video, last week we had the RBC Heritage. That was a shorter course that had a real premium on accuracy instead of driving distance. So for courses like that, they're pretty rare on the PGA Tour these days, but for courses like that, I'll be changing up a couple of sliders. But for the most part, I'd say 90-95% of the tournaments, I'll be using this model here. So starting off, we had long-term adjusted score set to 10 points. Basically, we want golfers who have been scoring well over the last year or so. I think it's 75 weeks. We want solid golfers all around, so I set that to 10 points. Green regulation, we want golfers who are good ball strikers, good tee to green, can get onto greens in regulation. So I set that to 5. Driving distance, 5 points. Again, I have a premium on driving distance just because it gives them a better chance to get eagles on par 5s. And there's even drivable par 4s these days for the long hitters. So the eagles on par 4s even, and just setting up shorter approach shots in on par 4s as well for birdies. With DraftKings scoring being so heavy for birdies and eagles, we definitely want longer hitters who can give themselves those chances more often. Going down here, long-term score or scrambling score. So to win a golf tournament, you probably will need to scramble at some point throughout the tournament, throughout the 4 rounds. So we want golfers who can scramble a little bit. So I set that to 5 points. Long-term field score, we want golfers who have been playing against solid fields. So for example, if a guy's coming from the Champions Tour to play in a tournament on the PGA Tour, he's going to have a lower field score. And we want to take that into the consideration because he might be scoring well against people on the Champions Tour, but when he comes to play on the PGA Tour, it's a little different. So I set that to 5 points. Long-term eagle score, 3 points. I wanted to put a few points on that just because we want guys who can score eagles, who can get onto par 5s and 2 and get those bonus points on DraftKings. And then same thing with birdie score. I set that to 14. We want guys who can put up birdies, and especially over the last 75 weeks, it kind of gives us a bigger range to look at. So we want guys who are a little more aggressive and who go for birdies and who seem to score a lot of birdies. And then dropping down, so this is more to the recent form. So that was kind of long-term stuff, and recent form is going to be pretty similar. We're going 10 points for adjusted score recently, so we want golfers in good form. So even if we had golfers who had long-term adjusted score, they might be struggling within the last couple weeks, so we want to make sure they're doing all right recently. So the recent, where are we here? The recent adjusted score is set to 10. Same with green regulation recently. We want guys who are hitting the ball well, ball striking, tee to green, 5 points on that. And then recent driving distance, so I set that up to 10 points. So for the long-term driving distance, I went 5 points. Recent, I went 10 points. I just want guys who are hitting the ball long. It gives them a better chance to score on par 5s, and especially those eagles. Those eagles are big, and birdies are big on DraftKings. So I think driving the ball far has a big advantage on the PGA Tour. And you'll notice that a lot of winners these days drive the ball pretty far. And then dropping down, again, scrambling. We want golfers who can scramble a little bit. So put 5 points on that for the recent scrambling score. Recent field score, same thing. We want guys who've been playing against good fields. And then recent birdie score. So for recent eagle score, I went to 0. I set the long-term eagle score to 3 because with the smaller sample size, you can't get too much out of it for the eagles because it depends on what course they're playing on, and maybe they just missed a couple of eagle putts or whatever. So I like the long-term eagle score better. But again, recent birdie score is a solid solid slider to use here on FantasyLabs. I set that to 10 points. We want golfers who have been scoring a lot of a lot of birdies recently and long term. So I made sure both of those were up in the double digits. And then course adjusted round score. I wanted a couple points on this just because some golfers play well on specific courses. It fits their eye and also their game as well. So I wanted 3 points on that. And then I believe that's it. So that's it for this Sports Geek model. Hope it helps you guys do well in some PGA contests. I'll be using it myself. And another thing I should mention is you also want to do some of your own research within these tools here and looking at all these different stats and the pro trends and your own trends. You don't want to just take the top 6 guys. A lot of people will be doing that. You want some unique golfers as well, so you might go down a bit and kind of look at some guys maybe in the 50 range or whatever, low 60s or something, and kind of differentiate yourself that way. But other than that, that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the model. Cheers.